Welcome to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Jack Shaw, such a pleasure to have you on the show. How's it going?
I'm very good, thank you, boys. All good. That's a warm welcome. As warm a welcome I'm ever going to have.
Oh, with the arms wide
back,
open. That's what we like to see. Now, I can't help but notice there's a little mark under your, I think your left eye there. Yeah, how's things going? You all right?
Yeah, it's all good. That was courtesy of Josh Reed. I went on Monday sparring. So I think he glanced me with them 10-year-old gloves he got on. His 10-year-old Katami gloves. So it looks worse than what it is. Honestly, it's not a cut to it. It's just a little graze. But I'm sure I'll never live it down. Especially now it's live on camera as well. You'll let me know about that one every time.
Oh, nice. Well, glad you still got a smile on your face. Now, I mean, the reason we're obviously here is because we've got the big card on September 4th. Loads of UK fighters on that card. Yourself being one of the biggest. And you're fighting Said Nurmagomedov. I have to be honest with you, Jack. When I heard the name Nurmagomedov, I got a little bit concerned. I was a little bit worried. I thought maybe it was a little bit squeaky bum time. But I did a little bit of research and I found out he's not a relative of Khabib's. I think they do have a relationship. They know each other a bit, but he's not a relative. I suppose you probably wouldn't have cared either way whether he was a relative of Khabib, would you?
Well, even if he was, who better to fight a relative than Khabib than the Welsh Khabib? So
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he's not. No, I don't think they know each other, but I don't think. I keep saying to everyone, I think Nurmagomedov in Dagestan is the equivalent to something like Jones in Wales. So people the same second name don't always mean you're related.
Oh, brilliant. How's training going, Jack?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a real tough camp in terms of training. We've upped the volume. The gym now obviously is back open as normal. My father's gone part-time to work, so we're getting daytime sessions in now with the pro team. So to this morning now, we just come straight from sparring. So it's good. It's all coming together nicely. I've had a real good push, some real good sparring partners in. And yeah, feeling ready, feeling good to go.
Excellent.
Brilliant, mate.
Excellent.
I again doing my armchair research that I'm getting known for doing now. I've found out, Said Nurmagomedov incredibly different to when we think of like that kind of Nurmagomedov, Dagestan, Russian fighter. He's probably more akin to Zabit. He's a bit more rangy. He throws a lot of spinning attacks. Have you had to bring in kind of specialist training partners or anything like that to mimic that kind of style, or were you kind of set? Is it not necessarily anything you've not seen before?
It's not so much. Like I've sparred those type of guys before and everything. I'm quite fortunate. I've got some real good strikers in the camp. Scotty Pedersen, who's just fought on Cage Warriors, is a real decorated striker, and he's a very similar shape to Said. So he's been doing a lot of spinning attacks. And I got to be fair to the boys that they've really sort of sacrificed their training and their rounds in order to be specific for me. Attacking me with a spinning back fist, the spinning back kicks, looking for the flashy kicks. And that's the beauty of obviously having a big team like we got with. There's a lot of strength and depth, but I haven't so much had to pull in guys from outside. I've been able to sort of pick guys from within the team and say, look, can you give me this look? Can you give me that look? And it's worked. Like Scotty, Levi, those type of guys. Just they've been really good. I'm really thankful to them for this camp because they've, apart from obviously training for their fights a few weeks back, they've just done what me and the coaches have asked of them in terms of, look, just go out and fight them like this. Don't want to looking for takedowns. Don't want to shalling up. We want to spinning. We want to be aggressive. So it's been a real big help to me, and obviously big thanks to them for sacrificing their own training in order to get me ready.
How was it when you found out that the show wasn't going to be in the UK, and how does that impact on camp, Jack?
It's a little bit disappointing, to be honest. It would have been nice to fight in London, to show the UFC the fan base I've got in Wales and the UK. I think I would have had a big ovation up there. I would have took a lot of fans up there. So it would have been nice to show them that I've got a good bit of pull over here. Obviously, it got moved to Vegas. So in terms of changing the camp, we got to go a little bit earlier. We got to get acclimatized. I've got to take training partners with me that can carry on sort of for the 10 days before mimicking the style. But it's still business as usual. Obviously, it would have been great to have the fans there. But when we get in there and obviously the door shuts and the ref says, let's go, then it's just the task at hand then. So as great as it would have been to have my friends and family and supporters there, I've ultimately still got to do the same goal against the same guy. So we still go in there with the same approach and the same mindset.
Sorry, go on, Blake.
No, you go, mate.
I was just saying to Blake earlier when we was talking about this, like the thought of it being in London and having fighters like yourself and Paddy making his debut as well, the noise from like the followings that you fighters have got would have been phenomenal. And it is such a shame. You know, I'm sure it'll happen further down the line, but you know, I think a lot of our hearts sort of sunk when we found out that London card was being moved. But it's on UK time on the TV, which is great, which means we all still get to see it and don't have to set the alarms for 3 a.m. Which is always great.
The pubs will be busy in Wales at least anyway.
Damn right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was gutted for you guys. I was gutted for us. We were going to hope to try and go. I mean, it must be so difficult for you guys from an emotional standpoint when you're getting ready for a certain thing to happen and the support that you're expecting to have and all of that. But one thing that I suppose has only really just occurred to me is it something when a card shifts from, you know, effectively geographically, particularly compared to America, London, is this kind, you could say it was down the road. I know it's not down the road, but you know, it's a short trip in the car. Then going to Vegas, does that impact you fighters financially? Because you're going from, everyone can just come down to London and we'll just hop in the car, or, now I might have to fly a couple of sparring partners or something like that out with me. Does it impact you financially?
Yeah. To be honest, it's a big hit financially because obviously I've got to fly. Whereas in London, I would just take my free cornerman. Also, we'd go up in the car, I'd cover the petrol, stuff like that. Now I've got to I've got to pay to fly 2 of the 3 out. I've got to obviously pay for an extra hotel room for fight week because we're going early to acclimatise. I've got to sort of cover the hotel rooms there, and then obviously got the wonderful Vegas state tax that they nail you with before you get. Obviously in the UK, you don't get nailed with that because we're British and we're fighting over in America. You get nailed with the tax over there before you even get paid. So it is a big, like, don't be wrong, it's still a nice little earner, but it cost me a lot more to fight in Vegas. Or it doesn't cost me as such, but I make a lot, well, not a lot less, but I make less fighting in Vegas, obviously, than I would have if I fought in London in terms of expenses as far as getting the team out there, but also in terms of purse because of the tax as well. So, you know, people don't think of that. Like, everyone says to me, you're so lucky going to Vegas to fight. I'm like, but I'm not going there for it all. I'm going there to fight. So when I'm out there, I'm going to be training twice a day, cutting weight. You know, I'm not in all these restaurants eating the burgers and the pizzas that you see, you know, on the TV in America. I'm eating the PI food, and then obviously it's going to cost me as well. So I'm not moaning like I've got it hard by any means. You know, I still get paid well and stuff like that. But it'd be a lot better for me to fight in the UK financially as well.
I mean, looking at can you make a silver lining? Do you get to stay out there a little bit longer and enjoy Vegas, or do you have to come straight back?
We're back home on the Sunday morning. So
oh no,
the only good thing, obviously, like, because it's UK time, like even if I'm on the main card, I sort of will be done by like 2:00 in the afternoon. So I'm assuming because COVID protocols are sort of gone now in Vegas, that we'll be able to go to the strip and have a little look about and grab some food. Like, obviously last time I fought 9:00 in the morning, but we had to spend the whole day in the hotel room because we were flying on Sunday morning. And if you left the hotel Saturday night, you wouldn't be allowed back in. So it would have been a case of going straight through and then coming home Sunday and traveling for 24 hours. And that wouldn't have been much of a crack either, I don't think. So fingers crossed we get to see a little bit more of it this time, even if it is only for a few hours.
Well, I can't imagine it'd go as badly as it did for Paul Craig. He was on our show a little while ago, and I can't remember if he was in like Florida or if he was in Vegas, but I'm pretty sure he said it was a big night of drinking and he got chucked out of a limo because he was just in a bit of a state. So I'm sure you'll be a bit better off than Paul Craig was.
Fingers crossed. My the good thing is my old man and Carl, my two cornermen, and obviously and are not big drinkers anyway, so they not keen to party. But I am taking my teammate Levi, who's a young gun. So I don't know. Maybe me and him will wander off on our own for a few hours, and we'll see what happens.
Lovely
I mean,
stuff.
if you want to have a party, you're going to the right place. I mean, how do you see the fight going, Jack?
Yeah, look, he's a tricky style guy. He's got these spinning attacks. He's not a guy where you can just think, right, I'll rush in and take him down. Obviously, being from Dagestan, he's going to have that wrestling background, even if his specialty is striking. So it's been a real tactical approach from the team in terms of game plan. It's just about, in my opinion, keeping good fundamentals and having me dictate the fight, dictate the range. You know, I've either got to be in or got to be out. You stand at mid-range, you're sort of in the firing line for those spinning attacks. So I got to fight him on my terms. I can't let him get his game going. I've seen his fights, obviously, in the UFC. The guys who sort of fought him at his game have got punished for it. And the guys like Barcelos who enforced his sort of game plan done very well. So it's a matter of going out there and stamping my foot down early and saying, look, we're going to fight this how I want to fight it, or you want to fight it.
Yeah.
Do you spend much time sort of watching tapes of your opponents, Jack?
I tend to leave it to my coaches mainly. I will obviously watch when I get given the name, and I'll watch it a little bit closer to the fight. But this one, when you fight someone like this guy, because he's so unorthodox and so tricky, you got to watch that a little bit more, because there's certain things they do that 9 out of 10 guys, one is not going to throw at you. Do you know what I mean? Like when I fought Hunter, you know he's coming with a big looping punches and he's going to try and take you down. And a lot of guys are like that. You fight a good striker, a lot of them are very fundamentally strong. Whereas this guy, like you said, is spinning back fist from him close, is spinning back kicks, spinning wheel kicks, flying knees, jumping kicks. So this is stuff that you're not always going to be used to in sparring, and obviously not going to have. I haven't got a lot of experience against fighting someone like this, apart from maybe Von Lee. So we've had to watch a little bit more of this one. But I do tend to leave it to my coaches and let them pick up his strengths and weaknesses, devise the plan, and I'll just be like a robot when I'm in there and follow suit. What they say is what I'll try and do.
So have you because that Barcelos fight that you mentioned, it was a very close fight. It was by no means a walkover. So there's not necessarily yet like an exact kind of like blueprint of like this is how you beat Said Nurmagomedov. But are you saying that you were able to take moments from that fight and go, I can implement that? He seems to struggle a bit with that.
Yeah, definitely. He's great at mid-range, but I noticed without giving too much away, obviously. We
don't want you to give any game plans away or anything like that.
When Barcelos come forward, put him on the back foot, cut him off, it neutralizes those big movements. You know, you can't spin and kick someone when they stood this far from your face. And I thought Barcelos did a good job of mixing in the clinch work. And although he didn't nail too many takedowns, when he did clinch up, you know, he used his weight, made him burn a little bit. So there's things I noticed that he did well. There's also a guy, the Karate Kid as well, that at flyweight. I know he won that fight, but that was a close fight. And again, although his karate style is a lot different to mine, I can't remember the guy's name who fought him. It was his first fight in the UFC, I think. But although his style's a lot different to mine, there were certain things he did as well that I picked up on. So again, I'm a different fighter to him, and I'm a different fighter to Barcelos. But there's certain things I think that I can implement that he's gonna struggle with.
So you get the win, and I think, and well, Blake and I have done an episode on that specifically. We think, you know, you're arguably in the most exciting division right now in the UFC. And so I just wouldn't mind getting your thoughts on a couple of the recent fights, the Aldo fight and the Sandhagen-Dillashaw fight. And to sort of finish that question with, when you get the win on the 4th, where you think that puts you in the mix of things.
Yeah, the Aldo fight, like when I heard Aldo was going to Bantamweight, I was one of those. I was like, God, he's going to struggle because he's always like been known for struggling to make featherweight, and but he just seemed, I don't know, he just seems to have reinvented himself. He looks like, obviously he's a lot leaner now, and I don't doubt he has a tough weight cut. But when he's in there, like 3-round Aldo is a real dangerous fight for anyone. Maybe over fight like you've seen in the Peter Yan fight, over 5 rounds, he started to tire a little bit. But that's always been Aldo, even at featherweight. He was never as dangerous in the 4th and 5th as he was the first 3. And he's just looked like his last fight. I mean, the Marlon Vera fight, he won comfortably, but it was close. But like the last fight against a guy like Pedro, who's just so dangerous, such a big hit, dangerous for them calf kicks. He just neutralized everything he did. And his attacks were so sharp. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in the division, especially the top 5 at the minute, looking at Aldo thinking, that'd be a nice fight for me to mark off a legend on my name, because he's capable of beating him up. Like, even you watch the first 2.5 rounds against Yan, he looked good in stages. His low kick, it wasn't all one-way traffic until the end of the fight, and I think a lot of that was down to tiredness. So yeah, I think Aldo's a force to be reckoned with at bantamweight. He seems to be a different sort of level now to what he was towards the end. Not when he had the title, but after he took a few losses at featherweight, he looks way better now than what he did last going off at featherweight. And what was the other? Oh, TJ and Sandhagen.
Yeah.
I've only watched it once. I thought TJ did enough after watching it. But obviously there's a lot of controversy. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have been, if they give it to Sandhagen, I wouldn't have screamed robbery. It was one of them. But I just thought, with sort of the clinch work and the control, I thought TJ did enough. I know Sandhagen did the more damage, landed the bigger shots, the more flashy shots, but I suppose it depends what a judge is looking for. Sometimes people don't like I don't know what it is lately. People try to discredit clinch control and grappling, I think, because people are throwing flying knees and landing these flashy shots, yet you can control a guy for 2.5 minutes of a round, and people don't really want to think the last scores, when in actual fact, obviously, it does. So I think,
but it only is that the thing, because we had Sean Sheehan on the show, because we've had this a lot as well with fans and even ourselves and stuff, and you do start to disagree with the judging or whatever, but it is written in black and white. And we had Sean Sheehan on the show talking about this, that it is about damage, and only when the damage is equal do you then factor in the control and the clinch and all that stuff. I don't know that it necessarily should be that way or not, but that is the way that the criteria is written. But you're right, it does then lead, when people are aware of that, it does then lead to people to, as you say, slightly discredit those long periods of control, because as it is written, or at least it reads to me this way, is that if you're having a fight and 1 minute of that fight is you taking a decent amount of damage, but then you control the guy for 4 minutes, the other guy wins the round, because it's about that damage. Do you think that's a problem with the judging? Should that be changed?
I think it can be. Again, it's horses for courses. At the same time, It's look at those Dillashaw and Sandhagen rounds. For a lot of it on the feet, I mean, I know I'm not a big TJ fan after what he's done, but for a lot of it on the feet, it was 50-50. All right, TJ was cut up and wearing a bit of damage, but in terms of actual damage towards the end of the fight, with they're going shot for shot, there's not a lot in it in the round. So for me, if I was judging a fight, even with the criteria as it is, if it was 50-50 on the feet, shot for shot, and then TJ sort of takes his back and controls him for 45 seconds to a minute, I would give the round to TJ.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's if the damage is equal, and then that's when you factor in the control time. So for me, that's why I was scoring it to TJ. I do think it needs to be changed a little bit in terms of because like you said, if I go out and cause a lot of damage on a guy in 30 seconds and cut him up and land a 10-punch combo, if he takes me down for 4.5 minutes then and controls me and I can't get back to my feet, how is that not? That's him winning a round, in my opinion, because it's not. I'm trying to think of a way to put it into words. We got to factor in that it is mixed martial arts, so we can't just factor in damage on the feet and discredit the grappling. If grappling is 90% of the round, but you got damaged for 10% of the round. When surely, if you're in control for 90% of the round, you should win that round. And vice versa. If you hold the guy down for a minute and drop a load of elbows on him, but then he pops up and for the last 4.5 minutes of the round, he's sticking a jab and a low kick on you and you can't get near him, all right, he may not have caused as much damage as you did with the ground and pound, but surely he should win the round by being in control for more of the round. So it's a tough one. I think it's with MMA because there's so many factors with the wrestling, the grappling, the striking, clinch work. It's never gonna be clear cut, I don't think, and unfortunately. But I think maybe they should do something in terms of more judges or former fighters being judges. Perhaps that would sort of, I don't know, make the scoring of these fights a little bit easier. Like, I didn't see that fight as a robbery, but I have seen fights recently where you think, how have you scored it to him? Yeah. Well, my last fight, like the one judge have scored 2 rounds to the guy I fought, and 99.999% of everyone online and that I know is saying I just don't get it. Where when you're fighting for, if you win you get double your money, or if you lose you're going to lose out on half your money. It's a bit of a stinger if you get, well, swearing, if you get messed over by a judge who's not scoring the fight properly. But it's risky water, and it is a tough one. I don't think it'll ever be clear cut.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the other factors we have to consider is the sport is still so young. There's a lot of growing and learning to do on all sides.
If we look at boxing, they probably score a boxing fight now a lot different to what they did 100 years ago. So, it's one of them, like you said, as the sport develops and as time moves on, obviously it'll more than likely become a little bit more clear cut in terms of judging and scoring.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form you're looking past the next opponent, but we're confident that W's coming your way, and with that in mind, like, where do you think that puts you in the mix of things?
I don't think it puts me into the rankings, but I think a good win, especially looking good, whether it be a dominant decision or hopefully a finish, I think it put me in a spot where I can plead my case for a fight with someone in the rankings.
Yeah,
I'm not saying a top 10 or top 5, but those sort of 15, 14, 13s, those type of guys, I think I'm in the mix there, and I'd be 4-0 against good guys as well, all on winning records. And obviously, as much slack as the British guys get, we do get a little bit tough. At the same time, they know they need British guys coming through. They can't rely on Darren Till and Leon constantly. We need other guys coming through. So I think it'll put me in a good spot. I know a lot of the guys in the division know about me now. They know when you're undefeated, you sort of carry that little bit extra hype, I suppose, of you, where people like keep that steady eye on you because you've got an unbeaten record. So yeah, I think a win, especially in good fashion, puts me in a shot for someone in the rankings, or a shot against someone who's maybe not ranked but has got a good name for themselves.
I agree, mate. I think 4-0 in the UFC, being undefeated, you definitely deserve a ranked opponent after that, and that's what we'll be hoping that you get after September 4th, man.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, if not, we'll start a protest or something. I don't know. We'll do something.
We'll do it. I'll make signs, big signs.
Yeah.
Jack Shaw's on fire. Give him a ranked opponent. We'll get on it. We'll be backing you, mate. Don't worry.
Jack, we wish you all the best, mate, and hopefully we'll get to catch up with you after the fight at some point.
Yes, lad. Definitely. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're a gentleman.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, loads, Jack.